Hi guys, welcome to section 1. This is on simple interest. Simple interest in contrast to compound interest. Simple interest is interest only on the principal. So the functions for simple interest would be the original amount. Okay. So the total you have is what you started with. I'm going to call it starting. Plus your interest that you got, your extra interest times how many years you got it. So I'm going to call it starting amount again. Times your rate, and rate will be in decimal format, and then times time. So if you were to make a function like this, you would say, okay, well, the function depending on time, okay, is your original amount. I'm going to call it a sub 0 plus your original amount times time times the rate. Okay. Your book also may have factored out the a sub 0, and factoring it would have looked like this. If you take out the a sub 0 for both of them, you could say a sub 0 times 1 plus TR. That could be another way to write the formula. So this is kind of like reverse distribution. So if you were to distribute this, if you distribute the A to here, then you would get that, and then distribute to here, you get the top number. All right, so just figure out some information down here. For this equation, for your homework, you want to fill in 2500, the actual number, put it on 8 sub 0 here and here, and then your 6% interest, you want to put it here. Recall that 6%, you want to put that in decimal point, it'd be 0.06. So this is the number you actually write in there. It's not 0.6 or 6. So anyhow, you use your answers to make them here. So you do start off with $2,500. Okay. And then 5 years later, well, you're going to have your, I'm going to just write the whole thing out. You're going to have your original amount, and then plus whatever 2,500 times 0.06, that's how much interest, and then times 5, because it's 5 years. So this gives you 1 year of interest, this gives you 5 of them, and then add that to your original 2,500. That gives you your total. So you could do that for the rest of these as well. Use your calculators and all that. Okay, pause it here. Okay, so you want to do the same thing here on number 1 and 2. The question is asking for you to write a function, okay? So don't make it harder than it is. Writing a function is simply your y equals mx plus b in this case. So they should start off with a function of time equals, and then figure out. It's very similar to what we did at the top for number 1 and 2. Go ahead and do that now. On page 2, on the back of this, let's just read this. Sherman deposits $500 into a simple interest account. So a very important distinction that you understand those simple. The interest rate is 3.75, so it's basically 3.75%. And here's a function. This is an error right here. This cannot be. That has to be 3. Change this number right here. that number should actually be 0.0375. Okay, I think my pen's not working very well. Use my finger instead. All right, so let's change that number from 18.75 to 0.0375. And then use your calculator to figure that out. I'm going to zoom in so I can use my finger better. So basically, it's $500 that you started with, and then you're going to multiply this, the percentage, times the $500, and then times time, which was 3 years. So now that I look at this carefully, perhaps maybe that 18.75 is actually accurate. Maybe they just took care of this for us because this number is always going to be the same. The only number that's changing is 3. So if you multiply 5 times 0.0375, it probably does give you 18.75. Okay, and the total will give you, make sure to put it in dollars. Okay. So go ahead and use the formula for 8, 9, and 10. And now that we see that this was a shortcut, this was a shortcut of these two numbers right here. Okay, because the only thing that's changing is this right here. Because it always starts at 500 for this particular problem. The interest rate is this every year, and it's always starting on the 500 original. Okay. So pause it while you do the rest of those. Hector deposits $400 into a simple interest. This interest rate is 5.25. Here's the function, plus 21t. Okay, so I think it is also the same case as the previous one. Let me read the question. Determine the number of years it will take for the account balance to reach each given amount. Okay, so this is slightly different. All right, let me slow down here. So this case, you actually know that you want to reach 505. So this will replacing this number. Okay, so you're going to say 505 equals 400 plus 21t, and t is what we're trying to find out. So basically, we need to make $105 profit or interest. So we need, from 400, we want to get to 505. How is this going to become 105? Well, looking at this number, I can kind of guess it's 5 years because 5 times 20 is 100, and 5 times 1 is 5, so that's 105. So t would be 5. However, if you need to do your math here, you want to subtract 400 from both sides, and this is the 105 that I was talking about earlier. So now we have 105 equals, that cancels out, equals 21t. So t times 21 is 105. What will make that true? If you can't figure this one out, then you just divide it by 21, divided by 21, so then t would equal 5. It took 5 years to get there. All right, so when you do 14, 15, and 16, make sure you're careful about plugging this number to this part of the equation and then using some algebra to figure it out, or use some logic, okay? I want to encourage you to use your logic instead of relying on algebra only. All right, that's about it.